Joseph Evans, who was the first music director, he was the one with a woman that tried to start the chorus, because the chorus originally was going to be a mixed chorus. But there were only a couple of women showed up, and there was like 40 some odd men. And after a few weeks, the women just said, this is obviously not a mixed chorus. Wish us luck. And and then we became the Boston Gay Men's Chorus.
The first time that we appeared in public was at the Boston Common on the bandstand.
And our performance, our first concert, was the next day at Arlington Street Church. As we were warming up and everything and ready to go on, somebody came in and said, we need to wait. And I was like, what's going on? And they said that, there's a line down Arlington Street and going up Newbury Street. And we had, there wasn't, standing room only. It was just like people hanging from the rafters. It was really kind of amazing.
It was a tremendously powerful experience. And all the way through, I think we did a pretty good job musically, which was, I think, an added bonus for the audience.
It was after the first show, and Joseph, was a wonderful man, but he wasn't really a trained music director. And then we had this man come in who was the music director for a children's chorus, but he knew how to direct a chorus. And then we really saw what he was able to do with us. And then it kind of became this little thing of, thank you, Joseph, for starting this, but we need somebody that can direct us. It was really difficult. The first few years was difficult with the chorus.
One rehearsal at the YWCA on Clarendon Street, the then president of the board just basically announced that we had a new music director, and here he is.
I think as with any musical group just getting started, especially one mostly amateurs, that it's getting everyone comfortable and getting sort of a cohesive personality, sound, way of operating with each other, working with each other.
I joined the chorus in January of 1983, which was right after the very first Christmas concert. Honestly, I think it was really about finding community and finding a place, not just to have a voice, but to have a place to make a statement.
I know that we have many times gone through sort of organizational identity. What are we doing now? What should we be doing now? What should this organization be to its members, to its community, to the musical, the non-gay community, etc. And sort of expressing ourselves as gay people, we didn't have any other or many other places in our lives where we could dictate the rules.
Why should you not speak to me? And why should I not speak to you?
Because of that, I think everybody came to the chorus very entrenched in what they wanted.
And and that actually started a rift between members of the chorus, because there were some chorus members that had had wanted the chorus to be a classical-oriented chorus, and there were other choruses that wanted to be more diverse and having more popular tunes and not get away from the classical, but have a much broader range. During break, the chorus would split. This side went to that side went that side, and we just snarled at each other.
Why should you not speak to me?
So then we had brought in another music director that we were saying, okay, we'll have Lee do half of a concert and we'll have John Labella do the other half. So, then afterwards we had a vote for the, the music director, and I'll never forget the vote. It was 27 for John, 27 for Lee. We did several votes, and then finally, Mumtaz Kamara had stood up and said, I'm really concerned of what's going on with this. I'm going to change my vote to Lee. And then we basically said to Lee, we'll do a contract from a year, but after the year, we'll be changing music director. Then we found, Robert Barney,
I decided right off the bat that what I wanted to do was make it about the music. There were lots of gay organizations that could go out and protest, but we needed to be about the music. We had to make a musical statement.
So he came in and was very open about he'll do whatever he had to do in order to figure out how to direct more campy stuff, Broadway tunes, popular music. You know, like Robert, I would give him, you know, like the credit of he saved the chorus.
I think at some point along the line, in the very early years, we realized that if we were going to be successful, we actually had to be good, you know, and put out a quality product so that people would want to come back. We wanted to have people audition to get into the chorus rather than just show up, which is how it initially was.
Back in 1989, I was new to the Boston scene, if you will. I'd lived in Boston, worked in Boston for a few years. I've always loved music. I've always sang in various choruses. So I was really looking for something to do where I would feel comfortable. And then I saw this ad for the chorus. And I'll never forget, the music director at the time, at the end of the audition, he said, "You were fantastic. It's clear you can't sight read, but you have a really good ear." So I was in.
I think my challenge was to focus that energy into the music and take some people who maybe hadn't sung since they were kids and teach them how to sing.
At Gala, you know, like we saw that the choruses had these little small groups and that they were kind of these campy little fun groups. And so we figured we should have those as well.
John O'Neill was a really great guy who had a lot of creativity and very knowledgeable in more popular music than I was. And he agreed to take it on, and they called themselves the Bay Statesmen.
In the 90s, what in Boston was certainly the height of the HIV/AIDS crisis, while the chorus was taking on huge commission pieces to express the grief of the community and the solidarity of the community, we were the clowns that were sent in Send in the Clowns. That when everything was going awry, and everything just got to be too much, then you send in the clowns. And then for just one brief minute, it's just all away. I loved Robert Barney. I was the other side of the coin. And that wonderful person in the middle, for the most part, was Chad.
An ad showed up saying, Boston Gay Men's Chorus looking for assistant music director and full-time accompanist. Boston Gay Men's Chorus. I never even heard of the Boston Gay Men's Chorus.
When we hired Chad, Chad was a terrific arranger. And Chad would come up with these, you know, I'd say, Chad, what have you got in this kind of category? I'm thinking something like that. And 2 days later, he'd present this incredible arrangement. That was magical.
I had never arranged for a men's chorus before. Completely out of the blue. He says, "Oh, you're a composition teacher. We need a Christmas arrangement. Want to do one?" He was the first one to ask me. So that's what opened the door to all that. I would have never done it otherwise. So huge credit to him for all that.
Bright morning stars are rising.
Robert kind of, when he started with us, he, you know, was basically coming in and saving the chorus, you know, but he didn't have much choral directing, you know, experience, so he really learned with the chorus. But I think the chorus kind of got to a point where he couldn't bring us any further.
There were a lot of opinions about what repertoire we should be doing and what repertoire we should not be doing. There were opinions about how political we should be. There were opinions about how gay we should be on stage. To try to appease that, I formed something called the Artistic Advisory Committee. It was a way to give people the feeling that they had a voice, and they really did have a voice. There were things I wanted to do desperately with the chorus that I didn't do because the Artistic Committee basically wouldn't let me.
Where is my dear Savior? Oh, where
who were very sorry to see Robert go.
Robert, we sang every note, we sang every rest, like it was precision. And Robert was this metronome, but there was no emotion behind it.
Bright morning stars are rising, bright morning stars are rising.
So, and I think, like the chorus, having had that, like really strict training of notes, rest, and all of that, that was a really strong foundation for Reuben to come in and really change us into what we are today.
Some have gone, to heaven, shouting, shouting. Some have gone to heaven, shouting, shouting. Some have gone to heaven, shouting, shouting, shouting. Days of breaking in my soul.
It's the dedication of the guys in the chorus that make things like this happen. It's guys who come in and rehearse for 3 hours every week, plus rehearsals on weekends and sectional. It's guys who put up with me ranting and raving at them because I want to pull the best that's inside out of them so that they can put it on stage and be proud of it and tell more people about our lives.
Reuben had more energy than everyone. It was really quite astounding to see what he was capable of, and we had no doubt in our mind that Reuben was going to be our next music director.
Over the years, Reuben just keeps moving it up and up and up, and we go to new heights. It's been an astounding ride.
When I'm thinking about the early days and what's similar and what's changed, at the time, I was one of 2 black men in the chorus. And that was frightening at the time because I didn't see anybody like me in the chorus, but the chorus is a lot more diverse than it was back then. The things that are very similar, the idea of musical excellence has maintained over the last, almost 40 years. And that is, to me, is the best part about being part of this organization.
Fundamentally, as the chorus has morphed and changed, Reuben has remained steady, but he's always created something new and original and fantastic. And it makes being a part of this chorus a lot of fun, not just for the social and community aspects, but also from a musical standpoint.
Going back through all of these recordings through the years, it reminds me of this journey that we've been on, and it tells me in concrete terms how much better we've gotten. The community has been so good to us. We have support from an audience that is phenomenal. I think we've gotten better.